Well, hello again. Welcome again to another episode of Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded. And I'm your host, Rish. And as you can tell, I still don't have my voice back. Well, I really felt led that I had to do this third part, talking to all our atheists out there. And you keep asking for evidence. Well, I got some evidence for you. So you got to watch this short video that I made, and then in the description, you're going to find a link to a video that I made 3 months ago, and it's called Consider the Evidence. And boy, I give you a lot of evidence. And you don't even have to read this booklet. I'll have it read to you, and you'll get evidence from the experts, not for me. But I agree with everything they say because it's factual. So, with that said, if you don't believe in this evidence, or if you refute this evidence, I'm done. This is the last video. There's not going to be a part 4. Okay, with that said, let me just get the video up here, and I'll start it. Hello again. Welcome again to another one of my recordings. First of all, I apologize. I've lost my voice, but I really feel I need to make this video. I've made 2 other videos that was dealing with the belief of atheism, believing that there's no God. I had totally forgot 3 months ago. I posted a video that I had made, and it was Consider the Evidence. And I got to be honest with you, it's probably one of the best books I've read on laying out the evidence for Jesus Christ being God and God existing. So I'm going to put a link to that video in this video. But the reason I'm making this video is I wanted to share one other story with you. I shared a story in the last video I made, and this time I'd like to share one about my oldest son. Now, when I say my oldest son is in his 60s. So you realize that, like my wife would say, I'm older than dirt. She has fun kidding around with me because of my age. But to be honest with you, I've been in pretty good health. I've had a few incidences where I've had open heart surgery and lost my hearing in one ear, just had my eyes operated on. So I am falling apart. It's like that song back, I think it was in the 60s. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. Ain't gonna need this house no more. It's all falling apart. Well, anyway, before I leave the planet Earth, I just want to share this one story with you about my son. Now, Scott, I had talked to him about the Lord a few times, and he was starting to understand, but I never brought any of my children up in religion at all, which is probably a good thing, because religion just leads people astray. And everybody that does not believe in God looks at religion as that's the problem of the world. And to be honest with you, if you really study history, you're going to find out that's true. So there's things that the atheists say that I'm in agreement with. Well, Scott, he was always worried about, things, where the money's coming from and all that stuff. I used to be the same way, probably inherited from me. Well, one day I was talking with him, and I said, Scott, I said, you got to trust the Lord. He's going to provide for you. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I said, next time you need something, I says, pray about it. Just ask the Lord and see what happens. That was the end of our conversation. Now, later on, I was praying and I prayed to the Lord, Lord, make yourself real to Scott. Just do something in his life that will open his eyes that you really exist. Well, one day he was out cutting the grass. He had one of those riding lawnmowers, and it was kind of an old beater, but it worked. And he broke a belt. Well, he called the automotive place, gave him the number of the belt, and he said, yeah, I got one. And Scott says, well, how much is it? And he says, $2. And he says, that with tax? He says, yeah, $2. So anyway, Scott didn't even have the $2. So he had a girlfriend, and his girlfriend was working at a restaurant. She was a waitress. And Scott got to thinking, well, maybe she's made enough in tips that I could get $2 and buy the belt and finish cutting the grass. It was only about 4 or 5 blocks, so he started walking. And as he was walking, he was thinking, wow, maybe I should ask the Lord. But then he was thinking, maybe I shouldn't even ask Bridget for the money because they had a bill and they had to write a check for $20. And she was trying to make $20 in tips to cover the check that they had to write. So anyway, he as he was walking, he says, Dad, I just closed my eyes just for a minute. And I prayed. I said, Lord, I need $2. And my dad told me I should ask you for it. And he said, I opened my eyes and up in front of me on the sidewalk, something was crinkled up. He picked it up and it was a $2 bill. Wow. Maybe God is real. Well, he ran in the restaurant and was so excited was going to tell his girlfriend. And his girlfriend was busy. The whole place was packed. And she ran to Scott. She said, you won't believe this. She says, a bunch of bicyclers came in here and left me a $20 tip. You see, Scott prayed for $2, but God knew he needed $22. He made himself real to Scott. The Lord answered Scott's prayer. I'm going to pause for 1 minute here. Well, I just needed to let you know this little story. And all you atheists out there, before you come and say, what evidence do you have that God exists? You read that book over here. Consider the evidence. And you don't even have to read it. I'll give you the link. You go to it, and I'll have it read to you. And it gets into such detail. It talks about all the different proofs. There's scientific proofs. There's logical proofs. There's moral proofs. There's mathematical proofs. There's so many things that prove there's a God. And these explanations are given to you by experts in their fields, in science and biology and all these other ones. People who study our genes and study our DNA, and they'll talk to you. And there's names in there, and just listen to it. And then if you come back and tell me that you don't believe in God, or that God does not exist, that's it. I won't discuss it with you anymore. This is all the evidence that anybody should need. So please read that book, or listen to it, I should say. Okay, bye for now.